What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the Knicks Cave. I'm Jan, the Knick fan, your host, and let's get right into it. But before we do, I want you to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment. You want to know when the next video going to drop, hit the notification bell. All right, let's get into this video real quick. New York Knicks off-season, episode 2. All right, y'all been hearing the rumors what the Knicks can do and who they're going to trade for, and everybody know that the Knicks is going to be focused on re-signing Anunoby and Isaiah Hartenstein. But this is just backup, just in case we lose either player, or even if we sign either player. The Knicks also talking about, you hear the rumors, is the Knicks having players that can step up just in case of injuries, or in the playoffs having a bench that they can count on, reliable players. And we're going to check out some free agents that's coming up. Some might not be in the Knicks' reach, but I actually think every one of these players the Knicks have a chance signing. If we look at their contracts and what they got paid last season and what they might be looking for and reality of their markets, we'll talk about these 5 individual players. I know some of you might not think that they might not fit into Tibbs' rotation, but I beg to differ. So we're going to jump right into it. And the first player we're going to talk about, and I know a lot of you are going to be talking, I already know I'm going to hear it, but we're going to jump right into this first player, and that's going to be my man. I know I'm going to kill his last name. That's Jonas Valanciunas. I look at this guy, I look at Jonas as, and this, you got to look at this like this. The Knicks, either way in this scenario, if we lose Isaiah Hartenstein, we got a backup center in Jonas, because you've been hearing about the New York Knicks trading Mitchell Robinson. And honestly, I don't think that's a bad idea. Maybe we can trade Mitchell Robinson for some draft capital, on one of our draft picks, move up into the lottery. Maybe that can happen. One of them teams like Sacramento, or maybe I know I'm throwing teams out there, but this is just some scenarios. And even if that don't happen, this is a guy I think that could come in and fill in if we was to lose Isaiah Hartenstein. Let's be real. We could get outbid. So I think Jonas will come in. He would fill that void. I know he's 32 years old, so that's a plus for the New York Knicks. I know it might be a con. Some of you might say he might not have the athleticism or the energy to get up and down the court or play the style that Tibbs like to play. But let's just say that the Knicks have to, think about a backup center, or, replacing either Mitchell Robinson or Isaiah Hartenstein. I know the draft is coming up, so they might address certain issues in the draft. But let's just go by free agency, which don't start until July 6th. The Knicks and every other team, they can start negotiation and June 30th, start talking with players, saying, trying to, fail who they would like to get out. Anything before that is tampering. So let's get into my man, Jonas Valanciunas. I know he's 32 years old. He's a traditional center, and the Pelicans going to have a decision to make. But I don't think the Pelicans are going to re-sign him, because they will be over that luxury tax, and history shows that the Pelicans, New Orleans, don't like to be over that tax threshold. So I don't see them paying him, so he should be able to hit the open market. If we look at what the Pelicans paid them last year, $30 million, 2-year contract, 15.4. I feel that he's going to have to accept a significant pay cut. And I know a lot of you talking about the New York Knicks salary cap, but we're going to go off that MLE, the mid-level section, whatever the Knicks do, and we look for somebody. This is a guy I think that could fit right into the rotation. He can hit, that mid-range jump shot. He's not a big-time three-point shooter, but, he's averaging around 14 points a game. You know what I'm saying? This guy can step in and fill a void. And if you want to be honest, if you want to be real, he averaged more than any one of our centers did throughout the season. You know what I'm saying? Mitchell Robinson, Isaiah Hartenstein. I know he's not as athletic as them, but he can defend the paint. He is a presence in the paint. Teams will have to respect his jump shooting ability, and he can occasionally knock down a three, something that Mitchell Robinson and Hartenstein, let's be real, can't do. All right, so let's talk about another player, and this might be a long shot, you know what I'm saying, but I actually think that he can fit into the New York Knicks system very well. And this is in case we lose my man Anunoby. I know the Knicks is going to be working diligently trying to make sure everything come together with Isaiah Hartenstein and with Anunoby. But I'm not even gonna say a replacement for Anunoby, but it's even if we sign Anunoby, this guy right here, because I see Precious Achua gone, he can fill in the role that Precious Achua have last season, this season, whatever you want to call it. Torian Prince last year he had 1 year deal with the Lakers for $4.5 million. What he averaged scoring 7.4 points a game, 2.4 rebounds, 1.5. But we know him as a player that did a lot of hustling. His defensive play, timely threes, and Tom Thibodeau defense. Let's be real. He probably wouldn't get a chance to play, being that Tibbs used such a small rotation. But I would be comfortable with him coming off the bench in a defensive role when we need stops or put on a player like Jason Tatum or even Jalen Brown, something like that. And I think, a 4.5 million he had last year, he might be looking for a pay raise. A pay raise to him might be $6 million, $7 million. And like I said, we going off the factor that even if the Knicks don't sign Anunoby, and even if they sign Anunoby, we still have that mid-level exception. So the Knicks can, break that into pieces. If you think about the mid-level, let me just jump back. The mid-level exception, let's just talk about that. It's a 4-year, $55 million deal. That's if he was given it to one player trying to entice let's say, a second-tier type star. But they're going to go out to players like the players I'm talking about right now. They can break that mid-level section up, 10 million here, 5 million here, 7 million here. So they can really work that $55 million into the rotation. All right, back to Torian Prince. He contributed more to the Lakers this season as a reserve in 29 games as a starter. And then that's 49 games as a starter, a steady three-point shooting at 39.6%. He is a solid defender with also a positive teammate, but he's also 30 years old. I know that could be, a minus, a con, but it could be a plus for the New York Knicks. 30 years old, in my opinion, is not like 30 years old and I'll go back to even to the 90s, early 2000s. Players been taking care of their bodies a little better. So I think he can fill in that Precious Achua role, and I think he'd be better at it, honestly. I think he's a better player. He have a higher IQ, in my opinion. Y'all let me know, what I'm saying, what you think he is a perfect fit, or can he fit into this system, or would he be a player that the New York Knicks would be interested in? Like I said, the Knicks are trying to bolster up that second man rotation or just the bench period with solid players, and I think he's a solid player. Let's be real; he's a really solid player. So I'm intrigued. I'm gonna be honest. I'm really intrigued. All right, this next player, I know y'all been hearing about him from other channels, and he was a player that I thought the Knicks should have really went after last year. Kelly Oubre. It's funny with Kelly Oubre because he's the type of player that I thought, you look at what he got paid from Philadelphia last year, $2.9 million. He's a player that should have been getting somewhere around 15 per year. You know what I'm saying? He had came off a 20-point season with Charlotte. But he effed around. Let's be real. He effed around with the market. It dried up. The money wasn't there. And he had to take what he had to take. His market might be a little higher this year, so he might not be able in the Knicks reach. But like I said, with the MLE being $55 million, $9 or even $10 million will be a pay raise to him. And that's if the 76ers don't bring him back. I know the 76ers will probably bring him back, but their focus is going to be trying to get some type of star. They're looking to spend some big money for certain players, and one of them stars, they're trying to steal Anunoby. So now that's a scenario if Philadelphia was to try to, this outright outbid New York Knicks for OG Anunoby, he would be a casualty, and I don't see nothing wrong with the Knicks just snatching up that whatever you want to call it, one man trash could be another man's treasure. And I think Kelly Oubre would come right in, and he would fit right into Tom Thibodeau scheme. You know what I'm saying? He's a lanky guy. He's not a consistent scorer, but he can give you baskets. I like his style. I like him. I'm not gonna lie to you. I like Kelly Oubre. He averaged this year 13.2 points a game, 4 rebounds, 1.5 assists. He shot 44% from the field and 31% from downtown. I think in the Knicks offense, that 3-point shooting would go up. And let's face it, guys coming to the Garden, whether they're opponents or starting to play, they try to up their game. So I know and his agent probably be talking like, yo, you step your game up, you will be making a lot more money than what the New York Knicks is paying you. You know what I'm saying? And off endorsements. And Kelly Oubre, he's a player. I like his style. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think he would fit very well with Brunson, with Randall, and I'm gonna be honest with you. In this scenario, Randall goes nowhere. So don't even talk about trading Julius Randall because he's not going nowhere in this scenario. We're not in this episode of Knicks offseason 2. All right, so let's move it right along. This next player, I know a lot of people might not think, it's possible, but I think this is a possible player. And I was upset because I actually thought the Knicks should have got him last year. He was out there. He was out there, Derrick Jones Jr. Uh, the Mavericks snatched him up. Right now, he's playing for a title, and I don't know if they're gonna be able to outright sign this guy. The money is not there. If they do, they would try. They don't even have the mid-level exception. They have that tax, the TMLE, the taxable. So I don't know if they want to go over the luxury cap for him. They're gonna have to take care of other players, re-sign players. So I think he's going to be another casualty, but he's a player that I'm not going to lie to you. I would love to have him on the New York Knicks, and I know Tom Thibodeau would love to have him. I know he only averaged 9.8 points this season, but you see what he's doing in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? He's somewhere around 16 points, 3.6 rebounds, 1.6, shot 48% from the field, 34% from downtown. But in the playoffs, he's really solid. So I don't know. This is another guy I think the New York Knicks can make a run at come free agency. Start they talking on June 30th. Don't nothing before that because we don't want no more tampering. But I think he's a player that the New York Knicks should be interested in. What do y'all think? Hit me in the comments. Tell me, you know what I'm saying? Let me know how y'all feel about these players that I'm talking about. And we got one more player we're going to round it off with real quick. And I think this is another guy that's going to be on the casualty because of salary cap and what teams are trying to do, bringing in superstars, and that is Caleb Martin. 3 years with the Heat. He had a 20 million contract. Right now, that base salary is $6.8 million. Like I said, it's gonna be him. I don't know. I don't know what the Miami gonna do. I don't know if they're gonna let him go. I think they consider this guy to be a very valuable player. So they might. It all depends on what they do with Jimmy Butler. Let's be real. If Jimmy Butler stay and they're gonna have to sign him to a real big contract, spend some money on him. So Caleb Martin definitely gonna be out the door. He gonna want 6.8 million. Again, we talk about the Knicks, that a mid-level exception, and how they can break it up. That 4 years, $55 million. I ain't saying give it all to him. But if we can't get nobody else, we sign back Anunoby. We got Hartenstein. We got that mid-level. And what we can do is break it up. I could see the Knicks try to give him $12 million. Him coming off the bench, a very good defensive player, a very, very good, in my opinion, 3-point shooter at 43%, field goal 43, 11.6 points a game. I know he would average more than that on the New York Knicks. These are players that I think are very interesting. If the Knicks want to bolster their bench, they can bring in one or two, or just take a look at them. Interesting guys. I think they will help the Knicks and tremendously. Honestly, we will be losing players like Achua, and we got some non-guaranteed contracts in Bogdanovic. Well, they say it's non-guaranteed, but it's $2 million of that $19 million that is guaranteed. So I'm optimistic. I know one of these players might end up on the New York Knicks roster. Well, in my opinion, if they go out and make the moves that I expect them to make, even if they bring back Isaiah Hartenstein, Anunoby, I think they might be looking to move Mitchell Robinson. And doing so, they might Have to bring in some replacements. Tell me what y'all think in the comments. And with that being said, I want everybody to stay safe, stay healthy. God bless, and peace.